So welcome everyone to World of Wildlife for May 2026. It's a big month, May, for many reasons. We'll get to some of those reasons, won't we, during today, I think. I'm going to start by sharing my screen. My name is Dr. Sarah Pai, and I host this event together with Dr. Wong from the Borneo and Sunbay Conservation Centre. World of Wildlife happens once a month on the 10th of every month, and thank you guys for coming today. Don't forget, you can invite all your friends. Anyone can come, and this is not a paid event. So anyone is welcome to come in here and hear from all kinds of incredible wildlife people around the world. So about me, what do I do? Oops, went a bit too quick there. I'm an author and I write books about wildlife. So the first one, the black one, is the biography of Dr. Wong, my co-host, which I wrote as part of my Doctor of Creative Arts degree. Once I'd finished that, I realized that I really wanted to engage kids in conservation through narratives. So there are 6 books about wildlife Wong and his adventures with different species. These are all non-fiction narratives, and they're suitable for kids age range from 8 to 12. My most recent book, which launched last year, is Curious Kai Asks Why, also for the same age group. And Curious Kai Asks Why is about a young girl with endless quirky questions about wildlife. She and her mum travel around Queensland meeting real scientists who can answer her questions. Crazy things like, are bats rats with wings or birds with fur? Can fish fly? Are cassowaries good dads? Things like that. So lots of cool stuff in there. The scientists are real, the narrative is not. So it's kind of a blended fiction, non-fiction. I do a lot of workshops in schools which connect kids to nature through my books and through the animals that Wong spends time with as well. One of them you can see I've got with me right here. We've got a visiting sunbear today. My latest workshop, I'm so excited about. I told you a little bit about it last month. The Parliament of Animals is something that I've been developing for about 2 or 3 years. It's an investigation into environment and civics, because we can't make changes unless we know how to work the system. So it's a workshop that's done through 5 different acts. It's aimed at school leaders in primary and high school, and it's also focused on year 5 or 6 primarily, because that's the time when Australian curriculum focuses on civics. So this idea is really cool, because I pretend to be the acting mayor of the Sunshine Coast. The acting mayor has invited everyone to a meeting to determine whether a development should take place, and she has invited both the humans and the non-humans. So during this 5-act investigation, children investigate one endangered species in my local region. They then become that species by actually practicing. You can see kids here practicing to be a flying fox in the background. They then dress up as that species, and one of them becomes that character in a parliamentary situation. So they learn all about how our parliamentary system in Australia works. It's actually one of the strongest democracies in the world, and we learn why it is such a thing. I've been doing a lot of development of that because the Sunshine Coast Council asked me to develop it for local species. So that will be launched as an open source for all schools sometime in the next month or so. All the materials that I've developed will be available for school teachers and school and educators to download, to be able to run the Parliament of Animals themselves. Of course, if people prefer, they can also have me come and deliver. So that's something that I'm very, very proud of, and it's nearly ready to launch. You're the first people to know all about that. I've also been doing some work in after school cares and vacation cares over the last few weeks of when there was a holiday. And I'm now getting back into teaching at university and teaching and doing workshops in school during the term. So that's sort of what I've been up to. Few things going on. Along the way, my daughter Amber graduated. So this was a super big day for me. She was only allowed 4 tickets to attend graduation, and she had 5 people she needed to invite. So the only way we could do that was if I was actually in the academic procession. So I got to don my funny hat and be in the academic procession as well. But that was quite cool for the photos as well. So we had a really, really good day. I'm really super proud of this woman. She's incredible. She's now moved to the centre of Queensland in Bowen, and she's a drama and film and media teacher at Bowen High School. So she's doing really well. We had another big celebration this month. In fact, only 2 days ago was Sir David Attenborough's birthday, his 100th birthday. Now, I want you guys to put your hand up if you've been inspired by this man. Yeah, virtual or real one will do. When I wrote this book, when I wrote Saving Sun Bears, you can see it. When I wrote Saving Sun Bears, I interviewed 45 different conservationists, all who knew Wong, and Wong is in many of those pictures. Almost every single one of them said this man was one of the reasons they had become a conservationist. So we owe a great deal to David Attenborough. I don't know what the world will be like when he eventually leaves it, and I hope we'll have enough people standing up for wildlife in his stead. Now you can see that Wong has met David Attenborough. He's visited Borneo way back in the 50s. The picture on the right was him meeting a sun bear in the 1950s. And the other 3 pictures is when he visited the Bornean Sun Bear Conservation Centre a lot more recently. So I'm going to pass over to my co-host, Dr. Wong Soo Tee. This is Dr. Wong Soo Tee, founder of the Bornean Sun Bear Conservation Centre. Maybe he can start by telling us a little bit about that story. Over to you, Wong.
Okay. Hi, guys. Thank you very much. Sorry, I missed out the last meeting because it was like, what, 5 a.m. in my time. Because I sleep late, I just cannot wake up during that time. So apology for that. So this month has been, last month also. I mean, every month has been very busy. I think there is no month who is not busy for us. Where should I start? Start from the visit of Sir David Attenborough, because this year was a big year because Sir David has his 100th birthday. As many of you have seen the celebrations in England, he was invited to the Abbot's Hall with Prince Charles, Prince
William.
Williams sitting beside him, and all these things. And then actually the King Charles actually wrote him a letter that got passed on by so many animals. So it was a very, very well done piece. So he have been here many years ago. I think 2014
or 2014 or 15, wasn't it?
2015 or 16. Yeah, something like that. And then at the time he was revisiting the places that he visited in the past, and then in Borneo he had been here for a few times, including the last documentary that he did, many years ago. Is called The Private Life of Plant, and he was actually here at Dunham Valley, and then and my study area. And then so this is the times where he visited the place, including visited the Sun Bear Center for the very first time, because obviously before, when he was here, the Sun Bear Center was not around. And I remember we have a pretty long conversation. At the times I did not know that they are here until I got a radio call. Oh, Sir David is visiting, and then I better be there. At the time I was wearing my yellow boots and working in the bear house. I think we are sedating one of our bears to do a health check or something like that. And then so I immediately rush out to meet the guest of honor, the VVIP. So we click and we talk about everything, including sun bear. And then I asked him whether he know anything about sun bear. He said he don't. So he was listening to me, doing this thing, knocking his head, and then listening to me talking about sun bears. And then I think I remember at the end of the conversation, I asked him whether he have seen any wild sun bear. He said yes. Where? Kinabatangan. When? 1956 or 1957? And then he said at the time, the river water of Kinabatangan is clear. Why?
Wow.
Because there's no siltation, there's no sedimentation, there's no logging, there's no commercial logging during that time. Yeah, the entire Borneo is still pretty pristine, so to speak. And then it's just over that several decades, things changed so much. And he's one of the very few people in the world who have witnessed the before and after, and who is still alive, and we have visited so many places across the world, from the Arctic to the Antarctic to the tropics to everywhere, and documenting the nature world. Yeah, so I think, every words that he speak means something, because he was there. He's not making it up. It's not that his research team come out with the script for him. He have been through that. He have witnessed those, so every single words is so powerful. Is I think it's because of that. So that meeting makes a very, very big impact to me. And then that's why 2 days ago I posted, wishing Sir David happy birthday. I said I wish I can live up to like 100 years. Yeah, and then I got
Yeah,
what
wouldn't that be
I
good?
yeah, I got 43 years to go. Yeah, so I
Oh,
have to
that's
keep healthy,
awesome.
stay healthy, and live for 100 years. Yeah, 100 year healthily, not 100 years like the last many years
Absolutely.
on the bed or something like that. Or it will be horrible. So anyway, healthily, that I can capable of moving around. I'm still can speak. Yeah, I can take care of myself,
Yeah,
and
it'd
I'm
be pretty
in good
awesome.
health. Yeah, pretty
Well, Wong,
awesome.
Wong, would you like to tell us a little bit what's going on in Borneo? I know that you've got the International Sun Bear Day coming up, and you probably
Yeah.
want to give us an update on the couple of bears, the new bears as well, maybe.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So yes. So next Saturday we are celebrating International Samba Day. Every years on May 16, we are celebrating that in commemorate of our very first bear that rescued into the wild. Natalie, she was rescued on May 16 in 2015. And then so we use that as the day of the International Samba Day. And May 16 also is Teachers' Days in Malaysia. And it also happened to be my birthday. So we celebrate three celebration at one time. So I'll be very busy during my birthday next weekend. And then yesterday and today, if you see our posting, we are doing a small celebration of pre-international Sunday Day, where we invite schools, have engaged visitors to do a series of activities, game, and so on and so forth. So try to cheer things up. Okay, as for the cubs that we rescued, Manja, the one that we rescued on February 9th, when we got her, she was 2.2 kilogram, and right now she is 6 point almost 7 kilogram now.
Brilliant.
Yes, the first month her body weight remained the same or even dropping. So the first month was very bad for her, and then keep on diarrhea. And then there was one time we have to put her in the incubator with oxygen supply to her, because she's completely fainted, like lifeless. Yeah, and right now she's okay already. Yeah, she is. I just posted one of her corn eating in my Instagram media or Facebook stories, so you can see her. And I'll post more later this today. And then as of we got Manja, we got Wira. Wira is an adult male bear, still in here at the quarantine area, and he's an adult bear, and I don't dare to go close to him. Every time when he see me, he will bark at me. So I don't want to create any stress, so I stay away from him. Yeah, he's
Wong,
no problem.
is he a wild bear or
No,
no?
no, he's
Okay.
he's well, first of all of the bears are wild bear from the
Yeah,
beginning, but was kept as a pets, yeah.
yeah.
And then it's a male bear, it's a full grown adult, so he's not very not habituated to many people, so to speak. And then we have Lumaku, the bears that we rescue from mini zoo last month. Yeah, so yeah, 2 months ago, and she's okay. And then we also have the latest rescue we call Sandokan, and Sandokan right now and Manja is about the same age, about the same weight now. So yeah, so Sandokan is weigh about 7 kilogram, a little bit more than 7 kilogram now. So we can see that Manja is catching up. So soon we will integrate uh, both of them together, those two female, and then we are thinking of maybe bringing both of them or one of them to Tabin Sabe project for the soft release rehabilitation. And then right now, for the Tabin Sabe project, Tinom has been living completely. She have not coming back to the bear cage for more than a month now, almost 2 months now. And then we do still go and, our team still go and look for her every day, and then fed her, give her some food to boost her up a little bit. So it's very promising that she's leaving her all by herself in the rain, in the sun, yeah, all by herself, which is good. And then so for Pitang, we are still walking her in the forest. She still got, if according to what Tinom did, yeah, and Pitang still have 1 year to go to, walking and then following back the keepers to the bear cage and every night and so on. A lot of work, elephant season from time to time. So elephant season is always the season where we are very worried, because last month, not too far away from our camp, there was a plantation worker got killed by elephant.
Oh no, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So the threat
So when
is
you say
there.
it's elephant season, Wong, is that because of the migration along the river, or what
No,
is
no, no,
the?
no, no. So this is the completely different group from the
Yeah,
from the
yeah,
from the
from the
Kinabatangan River.
river
These
river
are
group.
the
Yeah.
yeah, these are the resident elephant that live in Tabin.
Yes.
And
Okay.
then they move in a group, they travel on the path, and
Yeah.
then a few months later they will come back again. Yeah, and then when they come back again, they move slowly, they feed slowly, and then they hang around, depends on where they can find food. Sometimes they hang around longer, sometimes they just pass through, things like that. So when the elephant herds is there, so everybody have to stay alert. We have to keep all of our bear traps away from the elephant, otherwise the elephant would trash the trap. And yeah, and then sometimes if the elephant is around the camp, we cannot um walk the bears in the forest because it's not safe, elephant here and there. Yeah, so have to wait until they slowly move away, then we can start resume everything. So yeah, so things have remains like that. Yeah, and
Many
then I'm not
many
sure.
dangers.
Yeah, many dangers, and then I'm not sure I should, announce this bad news. This morning one of our bear passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, Sigalong passed away. We just finished the necropsy. We just finished bury her remains. We not sure why. She was, he was normal yesterday, eat normally, and everything. Then this morning they found out that is dead already in the bear
Oh,
cage. Yeah, so we need to send sample to do some analysis and things like that. So we have not run anything yet. So
mm.
and yeah, but
Oh,
we
I'm
will
sorry to
announce the
hear that.
news.
That's a hard one for
Mm.
everybody who works with you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, and that's it for me.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you. Any questions for
Mm-hmm.
Wong?
Sorry, I don't know much about sun bears.
Mm-hmm.
Where is their habitat? Is it just in Borneo or is it all
No,
through?
no, no. It's across Southeast Asia, ranging from eastern tip of India, eastern tip of Bangladesh, southern tip of China, Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Peninsula, Malaysia, Sumatra, and Borneo. And Borneo is a Bornean subspecies, very different from the mainland subspecies, which is double the size of the Bornean sun bear.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they are the
And how
smallest
many
among the
how many
smallest bear.
wild bears do you think you have in Borneo?
We do not know. Actually, right now we have a PhD students working and try to come up with a population estimation for sun bear in Sabah only. And then the only place where there is an official number is in West Malaysia, where the official says there are about 300 to 500 sun bear left in West Malaysia, which is not a lot at all.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm,
yeah.
mm.
And it's an interesting question that you bring up there, Jessica, because one of the reasons that the sun bear is not actually listed as endangered on the IUCN Red List is the idea that we don't actually know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
Wong, you've told me many times that there's far fewer than there are orangutans, but we
Mm-hmm.
just don't know how many, so you can't classify it.
Mm.
Yeah, a bit worrying. Any other questions for Wong?
Yeah, Wong, how are the visitor numbers going? Are they
Uh,
staying stable or? or are they
Yeah, the
increasing?
visitor number is definitely affected by the stupid war. And then because after, I mean, the war started on February 28th, and the next week or two, there was so many cancellation. A lot of tourists that plans to the trip, and then many of them from the Europeans visitors, they will fly through Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Doha, all cannot come. And then right now there is only the groups that fly directly from, say, London to Singapore, to Kuala Lumpur, and then to French. I mean, from French, direct flight can come. If those they are used to overstop in Middle East, they still cannot come. Yeah, so I'm sure it affected quite a lot. And then when I talked to some of the tour operators, some of them, they said, their cancellations have reached 50%.
That's
Their cancellation have reached 40%, so which is quite concerning.
wow.
Which is why I start to drop my hairs again. 2 months, 3 months now, almost 3 months now, because of all these
Okay, so I guess
anxieties.
what we can do is adopt bears to help you keep food on the table.
Yeah,
Bears,
yeah.
right? That's what
Yes,
we.
yes, and yeah, and this year is supposed to be a good year because Malaysia government have do a series of promotions, campaign to promote Visit Malaysia Year 2026, and Sun Bear being chosen as the mascot. So everywhere you see in Malaysia, the hotel, all the attraction, they have these two little cute, Vira and Manja.
They're pretty cute. I was like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
taking
very very cute.
pictures
Yeah,
with them last when I was there a couple of months
so
ago.
this is like, oh, it's so cute, right? Yeah.
They're so cute, and it's a shame that you're not getting the traction that they were meant to create, I guess.
Yeah.
I've got another one. So the international visitors are low, obviously, but what about local Malaysian
Yeah, local
visitors?
Malaysians, the number is always stable,
Okay.
because a lot of people travel dependent on, like, say, long holiday, weekend, and these are all locals. And then actually, we do not make money from the local at all because the ticketing price for the local is 10 ringgit, and then visitors from non-Malaysian is 50 ringgit. So our target audience for actually generate revenues is the international travelers, and then international traveler is like they subsidize the ticket for the locals. I want the locals to come and learn and to enjoy to see the bears, so that
Absolutely.
yeah, so that kind of situation. But hopefully it should be better, but it's not that bad yet. We still have, say for example, the Australian market is not affected still. Only I'm not sure whether in the future, where the price of the fuel, flying, and everything's go up, when the Strait
Yeah.
of Hormuz continue close, and in Malaysia we are still not too bad. Although I hear there are some operators in Kinabatangan River, they cannot offer two boat cruise because of they are having hard times on getting diesel. Yeah, so things like that. Yeah, definitely will be affected one way or the other.
Mm.
Yeah, so we pray for world peace.
Yeah,
Hallelujah.
absolutely. Let's hope it changes quickly, hey? Thank you,
Mm.
Wong, for giving us that wonderful update. And before I pass on to our guest speaker today, you mentioned that it's your birthday coming up, and it's International Sun Bear Day. So just to round that off, I'm going to read you the first page of Saving Sun Bears. May 16th, 2015 was Wong's birthday, and his dreams were about to come true. Yet emotions seldom travel alone. So he also suppressed a sadness as he prepared to say farewell to a close friend. Wong hoped he would never see her again and took a few minutes to say his goodbyes before moving to a safe distance. The translocation cage had been tipped 90 degrees on its side, and he knew once he pulled the rope in his sweaty little hand, there was no turning back. He glanced at his watch, 10:40 a.m., then tugged. The door slid open and 5-year-old Natalie dashed about 10 meters. She slowed as her brain unpicked the unfamiliar concoction of odors accosting her nostrils. The unnatural smell of sanitized human skin behind her mixed with the organic, almost pulsating essence of crunchy leaf litter. A strange underlying note tugged at something deep within her subconscious. The scent of mineral-rich mud transported her back to a time walking beside her mother, and she crinkled her nose as she sauntered deeper into the undergrowth, savouring the olfactory brew at the back of her throat. Deep green was the colour of belonging, and she climbed towards it. Within minutes, she was free. Happy birthday for next week, Ron.
Well, thank you. That was beautiful. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to share my screen now, and I'm just going to introduce our wonderful guest speaker today. Pretty awesome picture there, Jessica, I must admit. So Jessica is going to talk to us today about how art can transform curiosity into conservation, and why do moths matter more than we actually think. So I'm so proud to have Jessica here. I've known her mother for a long time and worked together at the University of the Sunshine Coast, and she's doing some incredible work in our local area. So welcome, Jessica, and thank you so much for agreeing to come and tell us about your life.
Thank you. No, it's a pleasure to be here. This is not my usual presentation realm, so I was a little bit nervous about presenting on Zoom, but I think we figured out. So I'm going to see if my screen share
give
works.
it a go. I'll tell you if it works when you.
It'll be very exciting. Oh, where is it going? This one. Aha. Did it work for you guys?
Something's happening. Yes, well done. You're on.
Okay, that was the thing I was most worried about. But it looks like yeah, it's just really wonderful to be here. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really curious now about the sun bears, and I definitely would like to plan a trip to Borneo in the next 2 years. I think that's sort of
Sounds good.
is definitely.
Come with me, Jessica.
I will definitely come and check out and visit you, Dr. Wong, in your facility. That sounds brilliant, and I'd love to go with you, Sarah. That'd be fun. So, yeah, and so thanks to everyone who tuned in as well. It's a pretty broad subject, so I'm just going to share a little story, just my little personal story, I guess, and how I got what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, that sort of thing. Yeah, we'll go from there. So let's see if this works now. Now I'm trying to change to the next slide.
Okay.
And it's
not changed yet. So did you try the
not
scroll or the arrow, click down arrow?
No. It's here we go. Okay. Yeah, so I guess this is a story of love. Because I believe that, the root of all conservation basically comes from love, which you get from being curious and learning about something. So my little presentation is just going to be a little bit of background on how I started working with insects. I just use the word bug because it's fun. It's not the scientific word, but it's just more fun to say bug. So working with bugs, then I'm going to talk about what we can learn from bugs, and then how we can help bugs, and then also learning about bugs, and then how that sort of got me down the path of bug art and back around to just like increasing understanding means you just connect with something so much deeper, which means you're going to want to conserve it and look after it. So I started working with bugs about 9 years ago. I got a job with an organization called Bugs for Bugs, where we bred insects to help with agriculture. And I was really attracted to this space because I believe that it's really important that we cut down on our use of pesticides. And this was a way that I could help in cutting down with pesticides by just breeding and releasing natural crop enemies. So I specialized in this tiny little parasitic wasp that parasitized the whitefly. So I did that for 2 years, and that was sort of my introduction to the world of insects. I guess as a child, I'd always loved insects and bugs and all sorts of things, but this was a chance for me to really get immersed into the amazing, wondrous world. And that led to getting involved with Mooloolah River Land Care. About 7 years ago, a position came up running their biocontrol facility. Whereas in this case, I got to breed insects for the environment, which was really exciting. So I breed 2 different types of beetles that target 2 very invasive weed species. So it's wonderful to be a beetle farmer for a good cause. So that just gave me, so basically for the last 7 years working there, not only have I really gotten to know these insects so well and other insects, but it also got me into a space of working with community and citizen science. Mooloolah River Land Care is we have a native nursery, and it was actually started because citizens in the area were worried about water quality of the Mooloolah River and it being affected by erosion and development and all these other pressures. So they started doing testing. So when I joined, I'm like, oh, I want to bring back the water watch thing, mainly because I just wanted to run around and catch bugs. So we set up the water watch program again, and I got to learn all about how we can learn from insects about the health of our environment. So we did macroinvertebrate monitoring. So that's basically a fancy word for little bugs that you can see with your eyes. And these guys live in the water. They're often like the aquatic part of the life cycle of an insect. And depending on what species we find there, it can tell us a lot about the quality and the health of the river system. So we got into that, and I was just blown away with what we can learn from insects just by observing them and seeing what's there. And then obviously, because Mooloolah River Land Care is based in a native nursery, we also got to get involved in how we can help a lot of insects. So the best ways that we can help bugs is by planting native plants, not using pesticides, and obviously, no brainer, protecting habitats. And insects are so important. I mean, I know probably all of you guys know that, but they are really the base of, the food web. So important for so many different species. And, if we don't have them, we have a very different looking world. So, and while working for land care, I got to get involved with a lot of citizen science stuff. So I got really behind I don't know if, does everyone use iNaturalist?
Definitely me.
Yep. Wonderful. Yeah. I could do a whole thing on, I love iNaturalist, just because it is basically made citizen science accessible to anyone with a mobile phone, which is a lot of people in the world these days. Like most people, you go out in the middle of Africa and you find everyone's got a mobile phone. So this is something, it's a free program that anyone can use and collect data on their local biodiversity. So I got really into that. And then we set up the big butterfly count and all sorts of things. Basically, just wanted to raise the profile and the importance of insects and really share that with other people. Because back again, the more you learn, the more you love, the more you want to protect. And then I just decided to, since I had this wonderful tool, iNaturalist, I thought I would set up a backyard bug study. And I decided to focus on night creatures, mostly moths. So in March of 2023, in the evening of a black moon, I like to call it a black moon other than a new moon because it sounds a little bit more exciting. I hung up a sheet between two poles and positioned a UV torch on a chair and just sat back to see what came to the light. And this nerdy little nature activity ended up turning into a full-blown obsession. So I have been observing moths every month on black moonlight since then. So it's about, I don't know, what is that, 4 years now, or 3 years. And in that time, I have recorded 2,518 observations of 718 different species of mostly moths, just in my backyard in this one spot. So that is incredible. And every single month I find a new species that I've never seen before. But what I love most about this activity is it's something that anyone can do, pretty much. If you can find a little dark spot out the back of your house, or in a nearby park, and you can do this. And it's just incredible because you look at these amazing colors. So while I was doing this, I got very inspired about how beautiful moths are. And very different than people's preconceptions. People think, oh, moth, it's sort of like this little brown thing. We don't know because everyone's asleep when they come out usually. So this led to a journey into, well, I had just about a year before I started doing my moth light, I started nature journaling. I just find nature journaling is a wonderful way to connect with your natural environment and make these observations. And it's the only journal that I've kept going for 4 years. I actually have multiple journals now because I've actually been filling them up. When I was a child, I was constantly trying to keep a diary, and I would do, you get 3 pages in and I'd lose interest. But once I started actually putting images, and this is all about what I explore and see in my nature journeys. So anyway, so I set this I guess it was like not a competition, but I set this goal that I was going to go and record 12 months of moths. So every page you can see here is a different month. I recorded the date, the temperature, and then I started also, as I was going, I started realizing things like humidity seemed to be important. So I'd put down the humidity and I would paint whatever came to the lights that month. I did keep it up for a whole year. I don't paint every single moth that comes any longer. I just picked my favorites going forward because it took a long time. But it got into the art, and I noticed that people really loved to see these paintings. I think it's a bit different than sharing a photograph. A painting, there is like a deeper connection. They're not perfect, they're just like my little, you can see the love in the art. So it's kind of a nice way to connect with people. I also just tried to make sense of all my findings. This is just in my spare time. This is just a random little thing on the side. So I started trying to group my moths into the different families and look for connections and seasons and stuff like that. This is probably going to be a lifelong study. I found that also by having to paint or recreate what you're seeing visually, it makes you actually really look at something. So it's a really good practice for deep observation. So yeah, once I've painted something and really looked at it, I remember it. I might not remember the scientific name, that comes and goes, but I will be like, oh, when I see that insect, I'll be like, I've painted that one. And I can go and find that much easier. And you just connect to it a lot more. And you're also doing it within their habitat and where they are. I'm very much into exploring what's in my local area, wherever that is. So when I travel around the world, I run around with my butterfly net and I just see what's there. It really connects me to place, to go and explore. And okay, what are the creatures of this area? What's the unique thing here? Who lives here? It's a really great way to learn about where you're at. This is just me having a bit of fun. I call this geometry. This is just moving around photos, getting a bit arty. And then I started making wearable things because I feel like for art it has to be useful. So it can't just, short of writing a book, I thought, well, these are nice little ways of getting out. So I kind of think of them as wearable field guides. So I started putting a lot of these images on tea towels. And then I had this gentleman come up to me one day and he's like, I'm not going to buy a tea towel, but can you put this on a t-shirt? So then that started the whole t-shirt range. So yeah, just exploring the different things. And they're just really good points of, talking points. So it's great. I got this photo sent to me recently of these 2 people wearing my Cicadas of the Sunshine Coast t-shirts. One was 4 and one was 50. And they had found each other at a festival, and they're like, oh, I've got that shirt. And they sent me a photo of the 2 of them. And that's just it's just really lovely because people are like, oh, wow, I didn't know there's that many different species of cicadas on the Sunshine Coast. And it just gets that conversation going. And they'll be like, the challenge, okay, this summer, how many of those different species can you find? So it's just a way to connect with the environment. Oh, here's a little plug here. Sorry. But yeah, we're having every year, well, we didn't, pretty much every year, Mooloolah River Land Care for the last 4-5 years, we have something called the Bug Day Out, which is a big celebration of everything insect. We have entomologists come and share what they're studying, very interactive. So if anyone out there is on the Sunshine Coast or is passing through the Sunshine Coast, on June the 6th, which is just is part of the World Environment Day festivities, definitely pop over to Mooloolah River Land Care. I did put a little QR code, but you can look it up on Mooloolah River Land Care's website or May26, but share it later. But and then also I just wanted to extend an invitation as well. I've actually got 1 or 2 listeners on here who have been to our light clubs. Actually, Michelle Painter is one of, she's been to pretty much every light club in the last 3 years, which is wonderful. So that's what I call putting up the light and watching the moths on the black moon. So we do that every black moon. So this next one is the 17th, I believe, and it's a Sunday night. So people can often bring a dish to share. And we go out there and check out the moths. So just extending that invitation out to you lovely people, if anyone's nearby and wants to come and experience that. So that was my little presentation. Wow, I don't know, I kind of covered those aspects, but I'm really happy just to open it up now if anyone's got any questions or thoughts or what they do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That was incredible. What a beautiful journey you've been on, Jessica. It's just really interesting to see, see the steps they've taken you on. So well done. Do you mind not taking off the sharing and then we'll open up to questions? That sounds wonderful. There should be a little green box somewhere on your there we go. Awesome. Magnificent work. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure that everyone's got questions, so I'm going to start you off. Because I've just been writing my next book, and in the next book, which is called Curious Kai Quit School, she actually investigates Christmas tree beetles, and the Christmas tree beetle count is a really interesting thing. So I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about what the problem is with Christmas beetles.
Yeah, well, so Christmas beetles, they're a really iconic beetle in Australia, and they often come out in the middle of summer, which is around Christmas time. So people call them Christmas beetles because of that, because they come out during Christmas. That most of them are eucalypt feeders, so they eat eucalypt trees. So we need sort of our old native forests protected for Christmas beetles. So obviously, like with most things on this planet, the problem is habitat loss, but also the use of pesticides, lawn pesticides, because the larval state of the Christmas beetle is a little grub that does
they're
like
actually underground, aren't they? They're during their life.
And quite a few of the species eat sort of like grasses.
Yeah.
So people who use lawn poisons, pesticides to kill the lawn grubs are often killing Christmas beetles. So that's, I think those are the 2 main problems. And why we might be seeing,
it's a bit of an issue, isn't it? And that's why there's, iNaturalist has this Christmas beetle. Christmas bug.
But I think also people know about Christmas beetles because they have fond memories as children and how many years to come. But it's not just Christmas beetles, and not to go down a dark, deep hole, but it's insects in general. There is a huge drop, and we can attribute a lot of that to pesticide use and habitat loss, but there's other factors too. And I know through 9 years of breeding insects, they are so susceptible to changes in climate. Like definitely with my beetles, I raise them in fully enclosed, protected enclosures, and yet they know what's going on outside. So they are active and are not active depending on the climatic conditions. Even though they don't get rained on and they're fully
Wow,
protected,
how interesting.
they're very much affected. So I think they can feel barometric pressures, and there's other things we don't understand. So I think
Yeah.
Christmas beetles are just one of those, the canary.
Yes,
In
it
lots
is a
of cases.
canary, really. Yeah, absolutely. Now we've got a question that leads well on from that, because Susan wants to know, what weeds do the two bugs that you breed target?
Cat's claw creeper and Madeira vine.
Important one. And are all the bugs that you breed native species?
Not those beetles. So with a lot of biocontrol, you have to find the natural predator. So obviously you have to look at where these vines originated to find what has been eating them. I have noticed just within my own facility that some native insects do also eat the vine, but they're usually generalist feeders, whereas my two beetles only eat those particular vines. So the Madeira beetle only eats Madeira. It cannot eat anything else, will not eat anything else. And the cat's claw, the jewel beetle that eats cat's claw, can only eat cat's claw. And both of them, which is quite interesting, the beetles and their larvae, so both parts, like the whole life cycle, only eats that plant. So that's really interesting as well, because often that's not the case. Yeah.
But we have had a few disasters when it comes to biocontrol in Australia.
Yes.
You know, obviously
we've had some great stories too.
one.
So like, yeah, the Cactoblastis, you know, is often one of our best stories. The cane toad is obviously one of the worst stories.
Yeah.
And that's to do with people not understanding.
How do you choose? Or is there a lot of research that goes into this before you actually choose a species then?
Yes. So the beetles I breed were chosen by Biosecurity Queensland.
Yeah.
They've both been used in the field now for over 15 years, I believe, around 15 years. Very rigorous process to get a new bioagent into the country these days. So I went and visited the facility. It's a lot of fun. If you ever get a chance to go to the Eco Science Precinct in Brisbane and go up to where they do their bioagent testing, it's pretty amazing. So you kind of go through this building in the middle of the city, and up the top are these glass greenhouses. And that's where they're breeding all of the plants, your target plants, and then also breeding any native plants that share genetics or similarities with those target plants. And then they introduce their hopeful pest to that, or predator. It's not really a pest in this situation. It's very rare to have a beneficial insect that's a plant eater. So most of the time we don't like them, but we do when they're eating the weeds. So and so I think the whole process takes about 4 years before it's deemed safe, and it might be deemed unsafe within that 4 years. And each year costs about $500,000. So it costs at least $1 million for each experimental bioagent to get tested as just a minimum. So these two beetles went through that, came out the other side as safe, and they've been used safely in the field ever since. The other difference I always like to point out with my beetles is that a lot of our native animals love to eat them, and eat them quite healthily and safely. So our beetles are not poisonous. That's one of the main problems with the cane toad, is that it was poisonous, and it will eat anything it can fit in its mouth. So a little bit different there.
Yeah. It's a good thing to point out, though, isn't it? Because everyone's a bit scared from that experience we've had.
I have lots of photos of birds and frogs and spiders and, you know, lizards eating my beetles.
Okay, cool.
So, I know. Unfortunately.
Who else has a question for Jessica?
Jessica, I've got a question. Back in the early 2000s, I used to work for Greening Australia, and I did some weed control in the Mooloolah Valley, specifically the cat's claw. It was running rampant through parts of the Mooloolah Valley. And I remember having to dig out the root systems and to get every little piece out. Now, do the grubs actually go under the surface and kill the roots, or is it sufficient for the bugs to actually just do the aerial parts?
Yeah, so my beetles are a slow burn. They're just something in the environment that eats the leaves. So they don't eat the seeds and they don't eat the tubers. So we still need human intervention. So the beetles are really only used to slow down the spread by defoliating the plants and just causing them a little bit of stress. So they're definitely just a tool in the toolbox, but they're not a silver bullet, unfortunately. But I would love to chat with you, George, because I'm actually doing a study at the moment on cat's claw in the Mooloolah Valley, and would love to see some of that historical records, because there isn't much of it that we can find at the moment. There's a couple little outbreaks, but there's not much. And so that's one of my little jobs at the moment, is finding outbreaks. So I'd love to go and have a chat with you at some point about that.
Unfortunately, I work in a completely different field now, and it was a long time ago. So, and I was only one of the environmental officers. As far as they called us environmental officers, we were just doing the hack work. So I wasn't involved with any of the research or the planning or anything. They just said, do this.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and I did
Well,
that. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, George. David, you've got your hand up.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Jessica. That was great. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Yep.
hear you.
Oh, great. Thanks. Jessica, I just wanted to mention, I mean, this is amazing stuff. And as you say, and we should realize more how important bugs are. I was lucky enough to be at the Applied Conservation Tech Congress in Hanoi, and Dr. Jenna Lawson from the UK presented on her work, and that's across two areas. She builds camera traps for insects, and her background is audio moth. And also she works on the disparities between research for conservation in the global north and low middle income countries. So if you want, I can share her presentations. I also helped her with a workshop in Kenya in January, but she's building these in low to middle income countries so that people can understand what insects they've got in their country, because no one really cares. You know, I think you mentioned deepest, darkest Africa. No one's interested in visiting those areas and helping local people understand what their wildlife is. So yeah, good work. Keep at it. Please keep at it.
Yeah, and yeah, I'd love to hear that. And because because in all these countries, like we've got this thing now called the Great Southern BioBlitz, where we kind of focus with other countries in the Southern Hemisphere. So there's a lot of South Africa and areas like that, and they have been amazing with collecting research and data on their local species. So it's a real accessible tool that anyone can use. And I think a lot of local people, no matter what their income level is, I mean, obviously, if you're just trying to survive, you're going to have other priorities. But it's just it's something that everyone can get behind, and people are. So that's been exciting to see the equalizer in in people doing research and finding new species. A lot of people, everyday people, are finding new species every day using that app. So, but yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, please do send that. That'd be great.
And when you discover one, you could call it the Raintree beetle.
Oh, you could.
Yay, why not?
I won't mind. You're not supposed to name them after yourself, so
Well, we'll find it and then we'll name it after you. How's that?
Yeah. I think Edinburgh's going to have he's got the parasitic wasp, but I know a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of David
He's
Attenborough.
Got a lot named after him, including a boat.
Yeah.
Oh. And Wong, you've got an insect named after you, so you're pretty famous already. Can't hear you, Wong.
Oh, yes, I said I have a stick insect named after me, Plasmodium sutii. They use my first name instead of my last name, which is very good. Because Wong is such a common last name here in Malaysia. No big deal.
There's a few too many Wongs, yeah?
I'm going to have to look it up. So that
please do.
It's a stick insect. Yeah. Wonderful.
Stick insect,
that's really cool. Did they find it near your facility?
No, it's somewhere in Sabah. It's just that the entomologist, Dr. Xiao Chen, every time he came, he's a self-taught. He's a colon rectal surgeon. He's a medical doctor, but hobby is stick insect. So every time he come here, cruise around the forest and find a bunch of a few dozens of new species, describe it, and then try to find try to find names for this, and then recognize everybody that have contributions to the biodiversity in Sabah. And then I'm honored to be named. I mean, yeah, use my name for one of the sea insect that he discovered.
That's wonderful. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
well, if you want to name new species, come to Borneo. There's so many insect
There's a lot
species.
there.
Everywhere,
A lot
everywhere
there.
there's new species.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'd love to. I'll definitely be bringing my light set up when I come.
Yeah, there you
Well,
go.
it's interesting you say that, because in my latest book, the Curious Kai Asks Why, she meets an entomologist called Matthew Connors in North Queensland, and Matthew's already named 2 new species. He's 30 years old. One thing that I learned from him, and therefore made it into the book, is that 2/3 of insect species in Australia have not been named.
There you go.
And that's just extraordinary, because for kids, they just think, wow, I could actually go out in my back garden and find a brand new species. That's mind blowing, right? That's one.
And they do. That's happening all the time.
Yeah, it's wonderful stuff. So thank you so much, Jessica, for what you're doing. It's incredible. Your artwork is amazing. And I would so love to do some nature journaling with you. So maybe we can round up some of these people and come and do some nature journaling one day.
Definitely.
That'd be good. Is there anything you'd like to tell us on how we can get one of your t-shirts or wearable art?
Just contacting me. I don't have a website or anything like that. This is just something I've done on the side. Created
all right. Well, I'll share that with everybody.
Friends, but yeah,
I'll share that with everyone, and I'm sure that it'd be nice if we all come nature journaling in your shirts. That would be very cool. We have one last question for you, and then I'm going to pass over for our special little section. So, do any other land care groups do insect breeding? Is a question from Paul.
Yes. So the other, it's really interesting because they decided to do the bioagent breeding through land care groups. So historically, I think most of the bioagents bred at least in Queensland, are done through land care groups. It's because there's no money in it. But recently, a business, Eco Insects, has just started up, and they have their sustainability wing. So they breed all the ones for agriculture, but they also now have started breeding some ones for the environment. And they kind of think of it as, oh, that's the good, that's us doing good and giving back. So I think, because it's not a very money maker. There's not as much money, unfortunately, for environment. The reason that we do get money for these beetles in our environment is that these weeds are big riparian weeds, which bring down canopy and cause erosion and affect water quality. So it's a water quality, therefore a water security issue. So we do get funding from the big sort of government organizations that are responsible for providing us with clean water.
Wow.
So there are several others. There's just a new one that just opened last month in the Pine Rivers area. The Pine Rivers Association have just opened one, and we're just always encouraging more land care groups to get in this space.
Well done. Thank you once again, Jessica, for being here. You're now part of this community, so I hope you'll come back every month and meet new people and make new connections. That'd be lovely. Now, we did introduce a couple of months ago, a new little segment called Mara's Minutes, which was introduced by one of my recent interns. Now, Mara's Minutes is 3 minutes for one of you to tell us all the things you've been doing. We were going to pick on Peter, but Peter's not, audio's not working. So I'm going to pick on David to tell us all about what you've been doing in Africa. Have you got 3 minutes to spare, David? There you go. What do we got? What are we seeing?
Can I do 4 minutes, or is that illegal?
Oh yeah, go for it. We'll be all right.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your patience on Mother's Day. Okay, so thanks very much. And I was really honored to be on World of Wildlife a couple of months ago. It was a thrill presenting on our efforts. These are a couple of photos from our sort of family organized effort in Kenya. It's my daughter, Michaela's on the bottom left. She's wildlife ecology student, now living in Brisbane. we lived overseas for 10 or 15 years, and a lot of that time I've spent in Africa in humanitarian aid and conservation using drones. So we ran the Women in Conservation Forum and the Global Conservation Tech and Drone Forum all within the same week in Nairobi and Konza in Kenya. The bottom right is our family of four, and then various photos. So I just talk about, some of the outreach really, and a little bit about the forum. We brought together conservation practitioners, students, researchers, government representatives, technologists, NGOs. Would love to have Jessica there and others from this group. And we're looking at how drones, AI, data systems, and conservation technologies have been used, and mainly focus on practical field-ready ways. That's the big thing here. It's about connecting the dots as well. And also alongside the main forum and the Women in Conservation Forum, we ran small outreach initiatives, one called Voices from the Sky, and that focused on conservation STEM education, storytelling and youth engagement. So we had over 800 people through the doors, which absolutely amazed me. I planned for 350. We planned for 150 or 100 for the women event. Michaela got 260 through the door there. Enormous outreach, enormous impact. And I was honoured we had Australian High Commission from Kenya turn up. We had 100 rangers and groups from the Kenya Wildlife Society. We had, I think, 60 different conservancies from around Africa, and et cetera, et cetera. We ran the Youth Conservation Awards. We had $50,000 grant awards for a student competition, another student competition. So, a lot of crazy stuff that I just can't imagine how we even got it together, but we did it. I'll talk about the connection here with Dr. Sarah, Voices from the Sky, two connected goals, immediate outreach through my little nonprofit called Nature Drones. And it was a conservation STEM book booth at the forum that my wife Camilla pretty much ran the whole time. So, and thanks to Dr. Sarah and others who donated books and education material, we created a visible, accessible learning space. And that was for students and visitors, but mainly to bring in the next generation of conservationists. It really became this booth. Have I got a photo here? Maybe in the next slide I've got a photo of it. But the booth became a real place for conservation conversations around wildlife, drones, conservation tech, ecology, future events. We also had lots of schools come along, so schools from DIE, schools from low-income areas, and we asked for donations for anyone that took the book. So Curious Kai was running off the shelves, people were lining up to get it, and we asked them for donations, and they donated money. We raised $500 and we gave that to the Girls Foundation of Tanzania, who
brilliant.
we brought along. Yeah, it was incredible. By the way, I'll show you a photo of them in a second. It was transformative, and we're really, really keen to continue this expansion of educational efforts. Dr. Sarah, thanks so much. You gave me a pre-recorded video. There's a photo at the top left of that in one of the rooms. Videos, we didn't use posters, printed posters, so there's a screen in the middle there with your poster on that. The girls on the bottom left there, the group from Tanzania. And with their leader, and their leader is a lady who's the best name I've ever heard, Esther Happy, on the bottom left. On the top right's Dylan, our son, running the Nature Drone stall. But one of the key lessons is that conservation technology alone is not enough. We really need to have more outreach. I just close on the other volunteer work I do there, and Dr. Wong, and you'll talk about about Sir David Attenborough. Certainly not trying to trump you by any means, and I've never met David. I say you're so lucky. But for the last 4 years, I've been a volunteer operations manager at the Old Pejeta Conservancy for the Wild Drone Project, which is a Marie Curie Foundation project. And I'm the operations manager for the hackathons because I was an air traffic controller for 35 years. So on the right-hand side is our 38 people at the hackathon. We're at Old Pejeta and Impala Conservancies. Old Pej is where the last two remaining northern white rhinos are, Najin and Fadu, and there's Sir David on the top left meeting them back in 2018. On the bottom left, I'm really proud of this, with the Kenyatta University, we got them to build drones, we got them to fly drones, and I ran a whole drone conservation flying event at Conza Technopolis, and that's the kids on the bottom left with their drones, flying the drones, and then we donated all the drones to them. So that's a long time. I stop now. Thank you very much.
That was amazing. Well done. Huge round of applause, David. It's so incredible to see how successful this event was. And, you know, that's a lot of people through the door. So well done. Well done for what you've done. I hope it continues for a long time to come. Well done.
No, thank you very much. And I spent a lot of the kids' inheritance, but that's life.
They don't need it. Thank you everybody for being here this month. We'll see you next month. It'll be earlier in the day. Sorry, Wong, it might be when you're asleep, but we'll see, because on the 10th of June, George and I fly to Sri Lanka. We'll be walking the Pico Trail in Sri Lanka, and we fly that day. So we're going to have to get World of Wildlife in before we actually go to the airport. So I'll give you some more details on that one by email. Watch out for that email, and I hope to see you all again. Don't forget, invite your friends. You know, let's make sure we grow this wildlife connection, because we can do way more together than we can separately. Thank you very much for being here.